So moving on, what we're going to do is we're going to read this article from Southern Grit. Again, they were the first to expose DariusCooks on a national level. And we're, to this day, very grateful for them. And it was Deb Freeman. Oh, yeah, her name is here. Deborah Freeman was the reporter on this. And so she titled this article, "The Fry Festival of Food," as a question mark. And she goes on to say the Fry Festival, the music festival that is now synonymous with fraudulent events and practices, could be likened to the brand of food personality Darius Cooks Williams. Much like the scene in the Hulu documentary The Fry Fraud with Bill McFarland, CEO of Fry Media, simultaneously was coming up with another dubious way to make money on camera while being filmed for the music festival debacle. Williams is on Instagram Live frequently. As I've told y'all, frequently is an understatement. Constantly would probably be a more fitting word. Incessantly. But frequently, which means 3 to 5 times per day, sometimes a little more, touting the popularity of his skillets, increased cookbook sales, and sold out dinners. That was a lie, but he's referring to the Dining with DariusCooks, or Dining with Diarrhea, as it's also known as, all while brushing aside allegations of fraud, mounting lawsuits, recipe theft, and the shutdown of his bakery, which would have been the Carolina Pound Cake Company. Jason Bryant, who is a former affiliate program participant, some of y'all don't know about this yet. I saw somebody last night say, what about us with the affiliate program? He really got us. Then I ran into this today. I said, well, here's your wish. If you're in the chat, the person who was in the chat yesterday saying, those of you who were in the affiliate program who got scammed, what about y'all? Here you go. This bud's for you. Jason Bryant is a former investor in Williams Carolina Pound Cake Company who came forward on social media to share his negative experience with Williams. According to Bryant, Williams created an affiliate program where investors sold his pound cakes through a website specific to an investor and received a commission. He was quoted as saying, "We paid to get into the program. You had to fill out a form that would be charged $50 a month on top of the initiation fee to maintain the site. And he set up a Facebook group for us," said Bryant. Bryant noted that he made 2 sales and didn't receive a commission. After a few months, he wanted to leave the program as he was spending money each month and not seeing a return on his investment. Bryant said, "When I backed out, I started looking out for the Facebook page and it was gone. I was never informed that the group was gone. Never got any notification. It was then that Bryant drafted a letter, which he explained was in the contractual agreement to leave the affiliate program." So he locked them in with them just signing a form to get him his credit card number, but to get out, they had to write a letter. It's like getting out of one of them gym memberships. They make it real complicated. He learned it from there. You know, he grifts from other things. He ain't got an original bone in his body. Says each month he stated that he was still charged the monthly fee and eventually canceled his card and disputed the charges with his bank, which many people do. A lot of people, why you don't sue? Everybody, all these people saying this guy, why y'all ain't sue him? Because people dispute this stuff with their banks and eventually, for the most part, get their money back, or they feel like it's just not worth it, the emotional and physical time it will take to hunt down a scammer, perpetual, relentless scammer. And they give up and they like, hey, this was my lesson learned in life. He was quoted as saying, "You've done everything according to the contract you signed, but he hasn't kept up his end of the bargain." Where else did we just see that? Didn't we just talk about the food, the lunch machine, the food truck, what we talked about? And I showed y'all email step by step of how DariusCooks does not keep up to his part of contracts. Goes on to say, he's a black person just like me. With everything we've gone through as African Americans, would you think that we would do our customers right? Wouldn't you think that we would do our customers right? Said Bryant. Yeah, that don't mean nothing, unfortunately. I mean, I hear you, but it don't mean a hell of beans. I don't trust nobody just because they black. I don't trust them just because they a Christian or nothing else. Show me. Anyway, here's the messages that Bryant sent to DariusCooks. He sent it to both, looks like he sent it on DariusCooks' Instagram as well as DariusCooks' Facebook page because he's trying to get a hold of the scammer any way he can. The message goes on. It's on January 15th at 7:39 a.m. This would have been January of 2020 if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not 100% sure. 2020 or 2021. Says, good morning. I'm reaching out as I have not gotten a response to several emails I have sent since 12/28 to cancel my affiliate program. I ended up getting charged this morning and wanted to reach out here. So to see, I guess, I can get a response. Really enjoy your work and hope to resolve this and refund the payment that was executed today. You see how these people still don't realize they've been scammed. Everybody still, because he got some popularity, claims to be a millionaire, they still give him the benefit of the doubt. Even after getting scammed. He's in the midst of a scam, having to send several emails, having to beg this man to stop charging his credit card. He's still saying, I really enjoy your work and hope to resolve this. He then, that was on January 15th. Then a month later, a whole solid month later, on February 15th, he giving them all kind of grace and time. He says, good morning. I'm reaching out again as I was charged again today. So I guess he's charged on the 15th of every month. He's like, hey, every month I'm telling you to stop charging me. He says, I have emailed and sent a letter with no response or confirmation. Please rectify this or I will take legal action. What they don't know is she don't care about none of that. So the article goes on to say, issues with the cake company did not end with investors. I don't know if you call affiliates investors, but Palma baked for Williams Carolina pound cake from July of 2020 through December of 2020. So this was Palma, his head baker for that time period. And she says that she changed his recipes for the better without acknowledgement or credit. He's a sociopath. I'm not surprised. I don't know where his recipes came from, she was quoted as saying. He had more flour than baking powder. It wasn't coming together. Oh man, I wish I had. There's a picture that I just came to mind of one of his pound cakes that I wish I had a thought to pull in so I could have showed y'all. I'll probably still be at a family. Says it was a hard cake and customers would complain about the 7-Up cake. I got to the point where I said I couldn't do that in good faith. So she fixed the recipe. She says, I changed the recipe and gave it to him. I told him I fixed it. He went on Facebook and said he fixed it. The cake became our #1 seller, author explained. I have had Palmer's cakes. They are freaking amazing. Amazing. Oh my God, yes. It's time to order another one. Says, additionally, as her W-2 tax form indicates, Palmer was not paid from the Carolina Pound Cake Company, but rather his former restaurant, Greens and Gravy, which was closed during the time Arthur worked for him. Tax fraud. Hello, IRS. Hello. He was paying her, for those of you who didn't catch that, there was no Carolina Pound Cake Company account. He was paying her from the defunct Greens and Gravy restaurant account. That restaurant was closed, shut down. There's no way he should have still had an account he was paying through for that. Not legally, from a IRS financial perspective. Arthur also asserts that there were no health or fire inspections done at the facility and the equipment was faulty. She went on to say the stove was rusty and the ovens weren't calibrated. Every sink was leaking, and they used a white bucket under the sink in the prep area. When the bucket got full, you had to throw the water outside. Wow. The wall was crumbling, pieces of the ceiling were falling down, the lights didn't have covers over the prep area, and he did nothing about it, Palmer said. A search of the Department of Health's website listed no facilities found for the Carolina Pound Cake Company. The bakery's website and social media has since been taken down or changed to a private account. Last month, now remember this article is older. Last month, July 19th, the Georgia Secretary of State issued a notice of intent to administratively dissolve the company for failure to deliver its annual registration. Together with all required fees and penalties within 60 days after it was due, and or having been without a registered agent or registered office in the state for more than 60 days. However, when Williams was asked on Instagram on July 20th where the cakes could be ordered from, he responded, "You'll be able to order the cakes once I get caught up. Right now, we're working through a lot of changes, sis. Okay? A lot, okay? We can't fulfill the orders that we have, and we can't manage the growth. We just going through a bit of a situation, okay?" I remember this one. I hope I can find it eventually. I had this clip where I literally knew that his business was closed by the state of Georgia because the health department got wind that he was running this illegal trap bakery, and they shut it down for real. And he was still on Instagram to his flying monkey D-Hags saying that he was still open. And the only reason they couldn't order and that he shut down the website was because he was behind on orders. So he stopped them being able to order so that he could catch up on the orders, and then he was going to reopen it. All the while, we know it's been shut down by the state of Georgia. Now, though, he's claiming that he's going to open it in Houston. Why wouldn't he have opened it back if he was only catching up on orders? Because here in the quote, he says, we can't fulfill the orders that we have. We can't manage the growth. We just going through a bit of a situation, okay? If it was about this huge amount of growth and you just had to catch up, wouldn't you catch up and then start taking orders again? Or do you completely shut down the business? Then later his excuse became, y'all see, I got so much on my plate with this and that, I just had to prioritize. So yeah, that I'm gonna come back to that later. Who does that with a business that's successful? And they still buy it. Sony Charlie, thank you so much for the super chat, super sticker friend. I appreciate you. They still, did I say Sonny or Sonia? Sonia Charlie. They still were buying it. Then we have Kay Benson, the interior designer. I told y'all this story just off the top of my head the other day, one of our other recent lives. This one gives us a little more detail. And I was off on the dollar amount. Oh my God, I lied to y'all again. Oh, don't throw no tomatoes. Oh my God, I lied. I told y'all it was around $2,000 or something. It was more. It was more. I was trying to go off my memory. I told y'all so much to this. Give me some grace. Kay Benson, an interior designer for Williams' Greens and Gravy restaurant in Atlanta, also detailed a negative experience with Williams that ended up with her suing him for non-payment of $4,270. She was quoted as saying he paid my contractor by credit card, and a week later, he says he didn't receive any money and it never went into the account. I told Darius, who told me it's out of my account and he may need to check with his bank. After moving forward, I paid the contractor out of my own money. Darius said that once the money came back to his account, he would pay me back, Benson said. So DariusCooks used his credit card to pay the contractor, scammed the contractor, probably did a stop payment or something, or a chargeback. The contractor doesn't get paid. So out of good faith, because the interior designer brought the contractor in and she probably works with him on multiple projects. She like, I ain't trying to ruin my relationship. I'm going to give him the money. And she believed Crooks' lies where he said, oh, okay, well, when the money hit my account again, I'm going to give it to you. She paid for his work on his restaurant. And he didn't pay her back. Well, because he was lying in the first place. That's number one. Said the restaurant opened, and according to Benson, she still had not received the money that was promised to her from Williams, and she sued him. She says that 2 days before the court date, he placed a check in her mailbox. Benson ultimately discovered the issue with the payment to the contractor was because Williams disputed the charge. Didn't I just say that? And according to Square, and that's according to the Square dispute resolution team. Didn't the Verbo owner that we talked to, we actually interviewed over here a couple months ago, didn't she say that DariusCooks charged back the security deposit, the $5,000 security deposit? Y'all see what she be up to? So here's the actual claim here, claim of statement. This is what was submitted to the court. It's got Darius Williams, aka DariusCooks LLC. So she was suing both. He was the defendant. They redacted some of the information. It says Darius Williams owes me $4,000 for. Oh, it's kind of hard to read because it's handwritten. For payment to his contractor, $200 for payment to his. I don't know if that's contractor again, and $70 for look like non-sufficient fund check received for design payment. So he bounced the check to her too, on top of not. So he bounced the check to her, and that must have finally went through, but she got a charge for that. But then in addition, he didn't pay the contractor. So the claim amount was the total of $4,270. And then it would have been $5,135 if there had been additional costs from the actual suit. So this is the DariusCooks ended up, and this was in 2017, everybody. This is from July 17th of 2017. Again, these scams ain't new. I mean, the ones I went over with myself, that was what it started in 2009, but the official, everything was going down in 2011, 2012. She been at this a long time. Told y'all. She been at this a long time. Let's move on. Then we had, what else was I going to say about that? Then he had, because there have been some other things. At his house in Atlanta, he also owed a contractor. That'll come up eventually. I'll find it. He owed a contractor who did like a pergola, like something in his backyard. He didn't pay that guy. He claimed something was wrong with it. But you know, some people who want to get over will have you do the work and then claim they don't like it or something's wrong, so they don't have to pay you. He pulled one of those moves. The guy ended up putting a lien on his house, so I'm sure the guy's paid now because DariusCooks sold that house. Then with the house he has in Houston a few months ago, this was before I was going live like this with y'all. Well, we were on a hiatus. Well, I was on a hiatus. Y'all wasn't. Y'all was like, Vell, talk about it. He ended up having another interior designer at his current house in Houston. He did some renovation there, and he had a lady project manager, and she's supposed to be someone who was on one of these reality shows or something. Supposedly, he claims that he paid her $150,000 and nothing was being done, or he couldn't see where the money went. He was trying to go back and forth with her online, and she just was like, you know, I'm not going to deal with you. And basically, he said he fired her, but it seems like she quit. But he was trying to basically infer that she stole money from him. That's what he was telling his followers. But again, he can never be the person who's wrong. He always has to make the other person the villain in his story. So it'd be great if, you know, some of these people would speak up, but he always finds people who don't really want the smoke. They just kind of let him run wreck shop. And right at the at the community he lives in with the fence around it. Maddie's mom is saying at the gated community house, the fence community house. That's not a gate. That's a fence. Darius Cooks Everyday Skillet says recently, well, this is not recent again. When was the date of this article? August 3rd of 2021. So this is from August 3rd of 2021. Says Darius Cooks Everyday Skillet. Recently, Williams released a everyday skillet for $99 on his website. In the description, he notes that the pan is made from Hexclad technology, which is trademarked and used by chefs such as Gordon Ramsay. However, those claims turned out to be false. As Marta, a chef and author of Sense and Edibility, discovered when she personally messaged Hexclad to ask why Williams' pan was less expensive than usual. Hexclad responded, "This appears to be a knockoff of our brand and technology. Our team has reached out to Darius to resolve this." Currently, Williams' website refers to the technology as honeycomb, although it was previously changed from hexagon technology. So this was the message that was sent to them by a person who was a customer, like, hey, how he able to sell y'all pans for $99 when they cost a couple $100? They say, hi, just curious why this pan from DariusCooks.com is less expensive than yours with the same Hexclad technology. Wondering if you maybe sell under a different brand. Then they responded, thank you for bringing this to our attention. This appears to be a knockoff of our brand and technology. Our team has reached out to Darius to resolve this. So, of course, Coalition always operates in receipts. They have it originally when it was on his website, and he listed here where it's circled as Hexclad technology, which is patented. Right. Hair Journey, the Alibaba cookware. So he was posing and lying to his followers, because at first he was even saying it in his lives. Yeah, and I got these Hexclad technology pans for y'all, blah, 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 this and that from Alibaba, but they're not Hexclad technology. He ended up getting hit up by them, and he turned it into, because they gave him a cease and desist, he ended up turning it in his verbiage to hexagon technology. Ain't no effing such thing as a hexagon technology. She's a slippery snake. She's a slick one. Y'all see that? She's a slick one. Says dining with now we're moving on to Dining with Darius, or aka Dining with Diarrhea. Dining with Darius is Williams' cooking tour. He travels. Now, this is past tense, y'all. Remember, this article is from August of 2021. DariusCooks has officially gone on hiatus from the Dining with Diarrhea events because he was running out of Airbnbs to run the scam out of. Says he travels the country to cook for guests with unknown menus and undisclosed venues, meaning they don't know what the menu started to be repeated. It was redundant, but they wouldn't know the location of where they would go to, and they were buying their tickets a year in advance. They didn't even know the location. They just knew the city. He would send them the information of the location the day of the event, just 3 to 4 hours before the event. And they've been okay with that. And sometimes people didn't get the information. We're going to get into that in a minute too. According to Williams' website, there are 7 courses, and if a diner has food allergies, he will be sure to limit the use of pork, tree nuts, and most common allergens. But when people would say, hey, I'm allergic to seafood, do you have because I think at one point he was doing I think he was calling it seafood mac and cheese or something. And you saw people saying, well, I don't eat seafood. Do you have a version without that in it? Now you can pick through it. What? Pick through it? They're allergic. And they saying this here. He says you can always pick around something or omit the course altogether. So your option, if you're allergic to something, like say nuts, and he's cooked something with nuts in it, you can pick around it, although there's still the chemical piece of the chemical reaction that those allergens would have with the adjacent ingredients. So you can still get sick, even if you don't actually eat the peanut, or if you don't actually bite into a piece of shrimp, you could, just by way of it touching the leaf you've eaten, green or something, you can still get sick. She don't care. She tells him you could always pick around it, or you can skip that course altogether. So you pay the full price, even though you might not be able to eat 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of these courses. That's your fault, not mine. You shouldn't be allergic to stuff. That's how she treats it. Says, due to the pandemic in 2020, his dinners were canceled, and the ticket holders were given the option to be refunded or to reschedule for a future date. However, several people who purchased tickets have complained that Williams has never responded to their emails or requests for their money back. No surprises there. So we'll come back to this. What we're going to do is we're going to take each one of these that we have talked about, and we're going to approach them separately. Let's move on.
Hey, popping like I'm supposed to. Watch out for the people that ain't close to. Speak a little something you could toast to. I ain't tryna hear about what you won't do. Moving like I'm into. Hit the ground